third quarterfinal matchup. And it pits Simeon Hardy and Vito Gasparyan. You see the height advantage for the fighter based in Brooklyn from Guyana. 27-year-old Hardy, 6 foot tall, 154.25 pounds. 13-0 with 10 knockouts. This is his first fight in 8 months. He's naturally left-handed, but fights out of that orthodox stance. So we will watch for that left hook Teddy often talks about. And there is Vito Gasparyan. It's been an active 2 years, 2 months since his last fight. Happened in December of 2012. Fighting only occasionally in several years. Didn't fight at all in 2013 and 2014, and only the one time in 2010 and 2011.
Obey my commands at all times. Protect yourself at all times. Touch gloves. Good luck.
Got Harvey Dock again in there for this scheduled 6-rounder to see who will advance to the semis. Top bracket is filled in with Score Code and John Thompson, and now Gasparyan and Hardy set to go. Gasparyan comes in with that left right away. Needed to be separated.
I'll tell you, a lot of inactivity in this tournament, and has already shown that it can affect fighters. 2 years and 2 months. Man, that's a long time to be inactive for Gasparyan. And then that was obviously since his last fight. You go back 2 fights, he was off 1 year and 1 month. Also, 8 months, as you said, since Hardy was last in the ring, but Hardy has the advantage of having less rust, at least early in this fight. Most of the fight for Gasparyan on the West Coast. This is his first time actually fighting on the East Coast, so we'll see how he does over in these parts. Hardy has not been as tough as Gasparyan has. Gasparyan has been in with the better competition, but Hardy, maybe if he gets close, can have a little advantage. He's the bigger man. In his last 5 fights, he has fought around middleweight, Joe, while Gasparyan has fought closer to welterweight. So bigger guy, silver and gold, little taller, little faster. He can take it both ways. He can fight on the outside as the bigger man, or he can maybe figure that he's a little bit more on the muscle side inside.
Wide with that right hand. So they get tied up on the inside again. Hardy able to utilize that jab that time and just touch him with the right hand. A good night of Boxcino action here from Mohegan Sun. I had the chance to catch up with the commissioner here in Uncasville, Connecticut, Mike Mazzulli. Said to me, Joe, when I started, there was somebody I really leaned on. I would talk to him every day to understand the business inside and out, and that man was Joe Dwyer, who was a friend to so many of us and influenced so many in this business and gave so much to boxing. He passed away at the age of 76 this week, Teddy, and that's a really big loss for those of us in this business.
Yeah, it is a big loss. And you see those accomplishments up on the screen that we put up, you know, in the graphics that Joe has done over the year. There are only some of them, but maybe his greatest accomplishment of all was his ability to bring honesty and integrity to those various boxing organizations just by his presence, because that's what he was his entire life, tough and honest. And even the sometimes dishonest business of boxing could not change that, because we are in charge of our own choices. And he always chose to live with a good name and to die with a good name. Joe, you did it the right way. We miss you. God bless.
Round 2 here. Gasparyan and Hardy coming out with a little quickened pace compared to what we saw in that measured first round.
Good, good, good. Keep him up, Vito, keep him up.
Good inside work that time by Gasparyan. Pushing off that time with the right arm, trying to create a little bit of space, and there's the warning from Harvey Dock. Committed to the close range to start round number 2.
Let him go, let him go, let him go. Let him go, let him go. Work clean, work clean, work clean. Like.
Hardy searching for that right uppercut. Is he also able to try to get around the guard of that right elbow? Close range, split the guard that time with a left hand, did Hardy.
Keep him up, keep him up. Keep him up, both of you, keep him up. Don't grab him, don't grab him.
Not much space for Gasparyan.
You know, Gasparyan did all that talking. That's why talk is cheap about, oh, you know, the theory of inactivity won't bother me, won't hurt me, but something's bothering him. And part of it is Hardy being able to have space when he wants. And now Hardy decides to, being a bigger man, maybe to go inside a little bit. But for me, Gasparyan is fighting his fight like a sparring partner. He's not throwing punches with bad intentions. He gets inside. He's the slower the guy. He's
going along with the script a bit.
Yeah, I mean, he's not really
letting Hardy have it.
And when he gets inside, it's almost like he's, you know, he's submitting. Like, all right, I'll just work. I'll put my hand behind you here. I won't really work inside. I'll let you work a little bit. I'll let you practice things a little bit. You know, he's not opening up the way you would expect someone who wants to win a tournament.
See if he can find a spark here when we come back. Boxcino tournament. Willie Monroe, Boxcino's middleweight champion from a year ago, sitting here ringside at Mohegan Sun in Eastern Connecticut. Joe, Teddy, Bernardo, and Todd ringside with you here for round number 3 between Gasparyan and Hardy.
Don't grab him. Stop, stop, stop. Stay off his head. Stay off his head.
You know, I'm looking at 5 draws. I say, wow, wow,
Gasparyan
wow.
with the 5 draws in his career.
And what's it mean, Joe? And I'm watching him fight. I think I'm learning what it means. I mean, obviously it means he's been in a lot of close fights. It means he doesn't have a lot of power to separate himself in a fight. It also means he doesn't do enough in a fight, and he allows fights to be close, and I'm seeing that as I'm watching it.
Just muddles it.
Yeah. You know, I mean, it also means maybe he has fought some competitive fights, some decent competition where he's been in close fights, but he allows, from his temperament, what I'm seeing here, he allows for close fights. He's on the inside where it looks like he should be, but he's not doing anything.
Keep him up, keep him up.
He's allowing a guy who's better on the outside, that would be Hardy, but he's allowing Hardy to be okay on the inside.
Oh, very much so, especially in that second round. And he's the more compact guy as Gasparyan. 5'10", 155, has that stockier build. Hardy every bit of 6 foot tall.
Talked about Gasparyan. This is his first time on the East Coast. Most of the fights for Hardy in Guyana, but has fought in New York twice. So he's had a taste of the East Coast. Hardy has been cut by head clashes. So has Gasparyan in his career. You can see why they fall in there with their heads. They are banging their heads a little bit on the inside. I see a little redness around the forehead of Gasparyan. And Hardy hasn't done it yet, but he can switch. You know, he's righty, he's orthodox, but he's naturally lefty. And if he wants, he hasn't wanted to yet, but he can switch. And as I say, what does he do?
Right to the southpaw stance.
Yeah, he switches.
Tried to place a left hand as Gasparyan came forward that time. Let's see if he goes back orthodox here when they, yeah, and he does.
These guys really believe in Valentine's Day, I could tell. I mean, they don't throw anything with bad intentions. I mean, they have plenty of love. Maybe too much.
Gasparyan coming in here right at the end of round 3.
Yeah, there's
at least the best aggression we've seen out of him so far.
The heck with Cupid, and I got my own arrow. Right hand, and there's an arrow. A short left hand, not to the heart of Cupid, but to the jaw of Hardy.
Vito Gasparyan, born and raised in Armenia, started boxing at 6 years old with 200 amateur fights. Now in Burbank, California, as a 14-win pro, friend against 3 losses and 5 draws, and looking to make something happen here in the back half of this quarterfinal matchup of the Boxcino tournament. Our third fight of the night, Stanislav Skorokhod from Ukraine advanced, and then John Thompson from Newark, New Jersey, who was a late entry into this tournament, also advanced to the semifinals.
You know, Gasparyan won the last round, at least on my scorecard, gave away the first 2, and I'm not shocked. I mean, it's kind of going according to script for me a little bit, because I talked about the inactivity. It kills you. 2 years and 2 months, last fight for Gasparyan. You go back, before that, he was off 1 year and 1 month, so all that inactivity, almost had to lose. He lied. You know, that's why I always take these interviews with a grain of salt. You know, he's being interviewed by Bernardo. He's saying, Bernardo's asking him all the right questions, and he's saying, oh, no, inactivity, no bother me. Oh, inactivity bother you because you lost 2 rounds because of it. And where maybe Hardy missed the boat, Joe, is he could have done more during those early rounds where Gasparyan was struggling with that inactivity, because Gasparyan's starting to warm up a little bit now. Maybe Hardy could have done so much more, I think, while Gasparyan was showing all that rust. And I think that Hardy's going to pay a little price in his corner. I think it's on them a little bit. They should have told him, hey, this guy, you know, no shock here. All this inactivity, we thought he might start slow. He's starting slow. You know what? Take more advantage of it. And Hardy did not. And that's why this fight is becoming even right now.
Gasparyan just building more and more momentum here in the midst of round 4. Hardy comes with an uppercut, comes back with a left uppercut. He was holding with that right hand behind the head for a moment. Thought he would try to place another.
Yeah, Hardy's doing a lot of switching now from orthodox to southpaw. I would forget about the switching if I was in a corner of Hardy and say, hey, just concentrate on using your jab, controlling the outside, not allowing the shorter guy who's not that fast to walk in. Use your jab, get off when he's outside, and that uppercut you talked about a little while ago, if I was Hardy, I'd look for it a little more. You got a shorter guy leaning in. Yeah, again, Gasparyan was given an opportunity to survive the early rounds with all that rust, and he's warming up a little bit.
Good round for Vito here. For Friday Night Fights, presented by Corona Extra, as Boxcino is underway, the start of our 154 pound tournament. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you ringside with Bernardo and Todd tonight here at Mohegan Sun. Round 5 scheduled for 6. 6-round fights, these quarterfinal matchups. They come fast. They mean something. You get good action, such as the case with Gasparyan in the last round against Simeon Hardy. And Gasparyan was getting instruction after that last round from Jose Navarro. And after getting instructions, he simply said, "This is for Justin." He's talking about Justin Fortune, the former Australian pro heavyweight who he trains with back in LA, who's been dealing with some personal medical issues. So his trainer back home in California on his mind as he wants to finish strong here in Connecticut.
And I like that. I always think you can be stronger when you're fighting for somebody else, not just yourself. Because you
separation, felt it with a left hand.
You got to do more when it's for more than yourself. So that inspiration, that thought of someone else, important for our character as human beings. And it stays with us in our workplace and obviously in our personal lives. So I'm glad to hear that. Let's see now if Gasparyan can continue the momentum that he built in his last 2 rounds, at least on my scorecard, where he's got a Hardy who's taller, he's longer, he's a little quicker, but he's doing nothing. He's just standing there. I don't know what his corner's telling him in the corner, but he's just standing there, Hardy on the outside where he should own the outside. You know, that should be his place. But he's not doing enough on the outside, and he's allowing, again, the last few rounds, Gasparyan to get in. And he's
comes forward that time with a right hand as he just followed Hardy back.
Yeah, that's the problem. You said it right. Hardy going straight back on the straight line, giving Gasparyan a chance to just go with him.
Started slow, but coming on strong. Even after 4, according to Teddy. Of course, if we do have a draw, we go to a draw breaker 7th round. All pressure on one single round after the scores would have been read after 6. But we'll see if we get to that.
You know, I talk a lot.
More and more momentum.
Yeah, I talk a lot usually about geography. You know, geography is so important in a fight. Where do you fight it? Do you fight it in the place you should be or the place the other guy should be? Right now, the geography moving really towards Gasparyan. He's getting closer. That's the geography he needs. In close, not outside. And he's doing that. And he's winning the rounds because he's doing that.
Quickly.
And again, I just don't see Hardy fighting the kind of fight plan that, for me, should have been drawn up, which would be owning the outside, and he's not doing that.
From Stanislav Skorokode, who had a 4th-round TKO against the previously undefeated Michael Moore. And Skorokode, the first to advance to the next round. His name is in the bracket for the semifinals on April 3rd. He'll take on John Thompson that night on Friday Night Fights, as Boxcino has the 6th and final round of this quarterfinal matchup between Vito Gasparyan and Simeon Hardy.
You know, Gasparyan, I mean, I said it from the beginning. A lot of inactivity. He's going to lose the early rounds, or at least he should lose the early rounds, and he did. But Hardy, boy, with Valentine's Day coming, he might as well have given a box of chocolates. He could give my chocolates to Gasparyan.
They're half-eaten already, Teddy.
Well, yeah, you got into that. Because that's pretty much what Hardy did. He gave a gift to Gasparyan by not doing more and not being inspired by somebody to do more early when it was apparent Gasparyan was rusty.
According to your scorecard, you gave Hardy the first 2 rounds. Gasparyan's come on. He's trying to work here. You can tell here for a moment. Then he ties up. He made a decision to tie up there. Listen, there's a pressure round here. 6th and final round. You gave him the first 2. Gasparyan comes on. So Hardy would need this last round to force us to a draw breaker. One single round to decide it. Almost boxing's version of overtime. But we'll see if he can get there. And we'll see if the ringside judges see it that way as well.
Yeah, Hardy doing a little more this round, but again, Gasparyan doing more too. Because he's just got that motor going better now. And he was allowed. I mean, he was allowed to sit in the driveway, idle his engine the first 2 rounds, and nothing. He didn't pay a price for that. And now he's on the highway. On the highway, he thinks, or he hopes, in this tournament to the next round. But Hardy, again, waking up a little bit this round and doing some of what he should do. He's doing it southpaw now, but he's doing it on the outside a little better. But there he goes. He doesn't use his reach, doesn't use his jab, and doesn't keep separation from Gasparyan.
He landed 2 left hands, and then Gasparyan returned fire and took control again.
Yeah, it's geography, Joe. And right now, again, just look at this.
Oh, short right hand on the inside by Gasparyan.
Look at the geography. Gasparyan is being allowed to be where he wants to be, where he needs to be, in close to Hardy, who's better on the outside.
Another short shot on the inside. Gasparyan's finishing strong. Hardy's going in the wrong direction for a guy that needed this final round. And he backs him up one last time.
Yeah, Gasparyan took this fight. He looked like he gave it away early, but then he took it late. Hardy gave it away late.
Now you will notice, folks, here in Boxcino, if instructed properly, and I believe they are, they will not remove the gloves because they have to see how the judges score it to find out if they need to keep fighting into a draw breaker. But that effort from Gasparyan, we think here sweeping those last 4 rounds should earn him the win. He said this one's for Justin as he got off the stool, and boy did he finish the way down the stretch of that fight the way a trainer would be proudly smiling over, and that is Justin Fortune back home in California. Teddy's scorecard looks this way: 58-56, last 4 for Vito Gasparyan. Fans at home say even more convincingly, 5 rounds to 1 for Vito. We had a unanimous decision in our last Boxcino quarterfinal. Started the night with a TKO. And now who will be next to move on to the semifinals and start filling in the bottom half of this bracket? For that answer, we go up to the ring to Sweet Baby Ray Flores.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds, we go to the scorecards. Here are your score totals. Judge John Trella has the contest 58-56, while Judge Richard Flaherty has the bout 60-54, and Judge Glenn Feldman identifies the contest 59-55 for your winner by unanimous decision. And moving on to the Boxcino semifinals, Vito Pitbull Gasparyan.
Dick Flaherty had it a sweep. Feldman and Trella go with Gasparyan as well, and he moves on. Vito Gasparyan will be fighting in the semifinals on April 3rd. 1 to go here from Mohegan Sun, and it should be a good one.